Hey, everybody, and welcome to the 9 to Side podcast, where we chat with super amazing and inspirational people who've pounded the pavement before and after their 9 to 5s to get their side hustles off the ground. After listening to the interviews with these amazing guests, you'll walk away with a refreshed pep in your step and a newfound motivation to make your side hustle a reality. Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 16 of season 2 of the 9 to Side podcast. I hope everyone is doing well out there. It's almost spring break, super exciting. By spring break, I don't mean any kind of break. I just mean it's spring and it's a different geographic location with my kids. But anyway, it'll be great. Super excited to go away to a different location for a week. Super fun. But anyway, let's talk about my next guest. I'm super excited. These are four sisters who are like all have the most dynamic, amazing personalities and literally take me back to my days in the city. I know I talk about my days in the city a few times on these podcasts, but look, one of my favorite things to do when I lived in the city was find amazing finds at thrift stores. And if you've ever been into shopping at thrift stores, who can't relate to finding like an amazing item after kind of digging through the racks and you find like an awesome vintage pair of jeans. They're like perfectly worn in by somebody else, but still like an amazing brand that you might never buy new for yourself. And they fit perfectly. And you put them on, you go out to a party and somebody's like, oh my gosh, I love your jeans. Where'd you get them? And you're like, I got them at a thrift store and nobody else could have them because they're a unique item. There's something so fun about that, like finding really cool, unique items that nobody else has that are in great condition, that are almost like worn into perfection, that fit your body. So these four ladies are the owners of Thrift. It's a thrift store. They do vintage, resale, upcycle, and they're based in Connecticut. And it's clothing, accessories, housewares. They've got like everything. It's amazing. And you can follow them on Instagram. They're always featuring new items that they have. But these four ladies have, like I said, the most dynamic personalities. They're entrepreneurs at heart. They are hustlers. So I'm really excited for you to meet them. I unofficially love to refer to them as the Thrift Sisters because they're all close and they all have these great personalities. So, and they own this store called Thrift in Connecticut. So without further ado, here is my interview with Thrift Sisters of Thrift.
My name is Nicole Rivera. I am 48. I'm the oldest Rossi sister. I have my 3 little sisters. I also have 4 kids. I live in Katy, Texas. I've been here 4 years. We moved because of my husband's job. We like it, but it's far from the family. So that's the only downfall, but it's beautiful here. So
got it.
Hi, I'm Danielle Machado. I'm the second sister. I live in South Salem, New York. I have 4 sons. I'm teacher by day, thrifter by night.
Love it.
I'm Elizabeth Rossi. I just turned 40. I have 2 children and I own and operate and work with a family business down in Manhattan. So I actually own a food court in the city out in front of the Met. And this is my side hustle here with my sisters doing thrifts. I used to be in the city a lot more. So now that we have the store, I've been splitting my time and helping them. And it's been a lot more fun.
Awesome. Okay. And Angela, you're last.
I am 38 and I have 4 kids, 2 girls, 2 boys. And I was subbing until COVID and now I do thrift full time. So I'm mostly at the store and then the sisters come and help. So that's good.
Sisters, I love this. So whoever wants to tell me, you guys can all jump in. Tell me now, since this is all about side hustles and some people have started their business, they were side hustles, they've transitioned them to full-time careers. Give me kind of the quick elevator pitch of what your business is, the name of it, what it is, and whether it's truly like a side hustle now or whether it's a full-time business.
Okay, so I think that we started the side hustle. We've always sort of, as sisters, had some sort of side hustle going on. But we started this, all of us kind of got into Poshmark and Mercari, and we all started doing sort of like this online selling one, we just have a ton of clothes between all of us and our kids, but also it was just sort of like a fun way to make extra money. My sisters took it much further than I did just because of my full-time job in the city. It was really hard to share and keep up with posts. So the three of them took it way further. And then once they started having all of this inventory with COVID and everything, Nicole came up with this great idea to start doing like flea markets or whatever. But what happened was, instead of doing that, she found something called ThriftCon, and ThriftCon was really successful. She attended one in Houston and then signed us up for the one in Philly. And that was awesome and amazing. And they did a really great business. And then they did a few more, which made us get like this buzz, this excitement about maybe opening a store. And I think that's kind of how it took off, right? Also, previously, my sisters did have many, many years ago a stand at a flea market in the village where they sold vintage t-shirts. So in the 90s, they went out and found like vintage cool iron-ons, and they were selling like 70s iron-ons on t-shirts. And we wanted to do thrift. And it was also, we're really into like cool vintage clothes and antiques, but it was always just for fun. And then when we started to really like see what we could do with these platforms and see what other people were doing, just by picking up free stuff on Facebook Marketplace and like turning it over for even $10, $20, $50, I think that's when we all started to sort of get excited about it and decided to open the store together.
So just tell me like a quick sentence, what Thrift, like what your business is. Just tell me like the name of it and what it is.
So Thrift, our store, is basically we find awesome, old, antique, new, and we resell it. So it could be something as simple as a t-shirt, or it could be Pyrex. We sell clothing, accessories, housewares. People could upcycle it. You could find something brand new that we get in, but you'll find something awesome.
If it's cool, it's going in the store.
If it's cool, it's going in the store. Okay. Yeah. What is upcycling?
Is like you come in and you find something cool and you bedazzle it and make it your own, or you take ties. A lady was in the other day. She bought like 8 ties and she was going to make a skirt out of them.
Oh, wow. That's
sells them on Instagram. We have other customers who come in for like old cool t-shirts and they put them on the back of jean jackets. So it's sort of taking something and making it your own, and even finding just old like name brand stuff and adding it on a pair of jeans or shorts or something. And
a lot of people look for fabric.
Yeah.
A lot of people look for like old fabric and make like something out of it, like a skirt or a new dress.
So that's why
stuff like that. That's upcycle.
That's upcycling.
Yeah. Okay. Using something
and
reusing it new.
Exactly. And making it new to you.
Got it.
Well, I think of resale as 2 things. So one, if you're on Poshmark and you go out and you thrift and you find something for $8 and you put it on Poshmark for $45 and you make that kind of money off of it, that's sort of this idea of resale. But also I think of resale as like our items that we find that are new with tags. Mm-hmm. So essentially like a TJ Maxx, you're coming in here and you're finding brand new clothes with tags that have never been worn at a huge discounted price. So that's how I look at resale. Some people think it's consignment, but it's not. Resale is finding new items and you're buying them, or finding something that you can sell on a social media, on a platform like Poshmark. Okay. So that's why we say like it's thrift. So it's secondhand stuff, vintage, which is old, cool stuff, and then resale and upcycle. And that's really what we want to do. We have a lot of like really reasonable priced items so that people can come in and resell it, or can come in and make it something cool and funky on their own.
How did you guys come up with this idea? Like, it sounded like this is in your blood. Talk to me about how this, like, you came up with the idea to get into the thrift business. Because not everybody, this is like it's a unique business to go into. So I'm like really interested to hear about how you get into it, how you get the inventory. Talk to me about what your inspiration was for kind of getting to this place.
Danielle, a million years ago, she was in college. I had just graduated college. My father was like, you need a job. And I was like, well, I'm not working for anybody. Like, that's not happening. Like, we're entrepreneurs, blood. I'm not working for anybody. Okay, what are we going to do? We're going to sell some old school, like, welcome back cutter, rock iron-ons, whatever. We went downtown. I was like, oh, flea market on Broadway. Let's do this. Then
first we started selling them out of the backseat of cars.
First I got almost arrested selling them out of the backseat of my car, but that's a whole nother story. So
that's amazing.
We found the flea market. It was the hottest spot in Manhattan back in the day, next to Tower Records. It was the it place.
The village.
Stars for club kids, for whoever was hot at the time.
So question for you. Okay. So you guys did this for a couple of years. You got married, have babies. When you started getting married, have babies, were any of you working like a 9-to-5 grind? Were you doing any of those terrible, heartless, soulless jobs?
Yeah, we had our own scrapbooking stationery store. And then our mother's head exploded and she had an aneurysm and a stroke. So that put us on another path.
Then we all stopped working.
And we all had to just, take care of.
Oh my God. Was your stationery store in the city? That was like while you were
in Connecticut.
Oh, in Connecticut. Okay.
Yeah.
And was that successful? Was that something you just decided to pop up?
You just started off and then all hell broke out with our mother. So
okay.
I don't think it just ever got off the ground. And like while we were doing it, then it was more like, oh, you could go to Target and like buy your stationery and print it yourself. It went from your ordering again.
Go started, and
so talking about trends. So it was very hot at the moment, and then by the end, it was like, oh, what do you mean you're going to spend this money to pay somebody to do it when I could just print it out on the computer? Like the computers were up and coming at that point.
Yeah. Okay. Talk to me about now the next steps.
Yes.
And what were some of the first steps?
We all got on the Poshmark Macari things. An online platform where you could, you resell clothing. So you could sell used clothing, brand new with tags, things like that.
And you got on it for fun or because you guys have always
got on it to make a couple of bucks.
Okay. Yeah. You guys have always been into like thrift. Has it always been
like always like, oh, I see this for $25. If I could sell it for $20, why not?
I think we started with like Christmas items and things like that, like 90% off clearance sales. Yeah. And we would go like to every Target and buy everything that was 90% off and then try and resell it on different platforms.
And just out of curiosity, with all of you guys as sisters, like, did you guys all sit down at the table one day and be like, let's just casually start Poshmark? Are you guys just all in your own places, just sort of texting?
I think Liz started that. Well, Danielle told us about it from her job. Like the girls were selling stuff. And then Liz was like, she downloaded it because she's a little bit more computer savvy than all of us.
So I did it and immediately within the first week made like 2 or 3 sales. And I was like, oh, we're
And then I made a sale the first day and I was like, oh shit. And then Nicole was like, tell me how to do it. And like, I'm doing it step by step with her on the phone. And then here comes Danielle. She joined.
It took me months because I do work full time. So. Yeah. But then when I started paying my son's college rent, his apartment rent, I was like, let's do this.
I went to Posh Fest. We were doing like retail arbitrage, like what Danielle was saying, going and buying everything 90% off. Then all of a sudden, all these people are like, well, I go to the bins and I go to this. And I'm like, the bins? What are the bins? And so they were talking about the Goodwill bins, which is like Goodwill outlet. So everything is by the pound. Okay.
This is all new to me. I'm sure it's all new to everybody that's listening.
They don't have that where I live. Like we're lucky in Connecticut finding something for $5. Like we were excited if we found something new with tags for $5. Oh, well, go to the bins and you never know what you'll find.
So at this point, are you guys like, Nicole sounds like the buyer. Yeah. So are you guys like formulating who does what in this bit? Like, or is this
like she could find stuff cheap no matter what time of the year.
And her stuff is mostly new.
Yeah. And us, it's like we got to take time and hunt it out. Where she knows if she's going there, she's going to get something cheap.
Well, I'm getting a vibe from you guys. I can imagine that it's like you guys are like a force for sure. Yeah.
We like to see what we could do. So basically, like if we could get something for free and make money off of it, we're going to try. I feel like our thrift store isn't like a normal thrift store. It's for everybody. And I think people get intimidated by the word thrift because they're like, oh, it's going to be stinky and smelly. But like, it's cool and funky. And we want everyone to come in. We don't want to intimidate anyone. Like we want to have something for $1 or $50 or $100. Like we have vintage, awesome, cool Looney Tunes stuff that is like really in and kids want that and they'll spend $100. But we also want someone who come in and buy a $2 cup because everybody needs something. So I think our thrift is like not a Goodwill where it's like, you don't have to be embarrassed to come and shop. We want everyone to be welcome. And I think
it's cool. Yeah. And it's cool. And I also like that your store is smaller. It's not like, and not in a bad way, but it's like manageable. It's not overwhelming. I think thrift stores can be very overwhelming, like especially in the city when they're just like wall to wall, like it's like you don't know where to go. Yours is organized really nicely and to manage. So wait, talk to me. I want to hear about like the time frame. When did you guys decide to get together to be like, we have all the stuff? So what happened with the conversation to get it going to be like, take it from there to like a brick and mortar?
I was looking at places down here, but I'm alone down here. I mean, I have my daughters, but like there's 3 of them up there. So then I was like, we're all like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Where are we getting a place? So then they all started looking for a spot up there. And then go ahead, take it over, girls.
We were looking in like Ridgefield area. We were looking even by Danielle and like South Salem, Katona, all of the like, but
and then even if you say you want to open a thrift store, people are like, "What? No, they don't want it.
They don't want
it because they think it's like gonna, I don't know,
bring down the like.
Yeah, they think it's
the value of the area.
But then we found like this area that was sort of run down for a while, and now they're really putting a lot of money into it, and it's sort of getting like a nice energy and vibe. And this whole strip on our side is all new stores, and they're trying to redo that whole area on the other side. So I think we kind of felt like, why not be in it on like this new up and coming wave, especially with Wall Street Theater having like new, bigger names coming in. I think it's sort of trying to give Norwalk like a new vibe, a new sort of like life again. So this area apparently like 50, 60 years ago was like very wealthy. There was Bloomingdale's here. There were all these things. And I think with the stores opening on the Post Road, maybe it like took away from that or people moved away. I'm not sure. But this area, I mean, for as long as I can remember, sort of was like closing down. There are some stores that have been here for a million years, jewelry stores that have been here. But I think this sort of like new, they're really putting money into this Wall Street historical area. They call it historic area or something. And so I think that it's nice to be like on the beginning end of that. So that's sort of why we all decided on this spot, and that it was like clean and fresh and not very big. Because originally we were looking at the larger spaces. We were just feeling like that, like you said, like it would be better to be in like a small space.
Yeah.
So you guys got the space, you're leasing the space?
Yes.
Is it a big investment, like in terms of your rent, what you're paying, like overhead costs for that?
I feel like
I think it's reasonable for the area,
but really
everything's
expensive in Connecticut.
In terms of like upfront investment, all in, just for people. I mean, I asked this question for everybody. Like, what was the would you say all in upfront to get that, like the doors open?
15 to 20.
15 to 20.
Okay, that's not.
Think about what I mean, because of our product that we had, including that.
Think about that and our counter.
I was just thinking about additional overhead costs.
The 3 months security deposit, rent.
With what we all put in, plus like we had to build this one thing, and we had to, I would say at max 15.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even think
that's not bad. And I ask this because people that are listening, the reason I do this too is like a lot of people who have like small seedlings of ideas. Sometimes they're like, it seems like really hard, or I couldn't do that. And I think to hear people like yourselves, like break it down, one, it's interesting for me in a business.
Well, everybody thinks you need $100,000 to do something.
I mean, I wouldn't have been able to do this on my own. I was able to do this because the 4 of us could go in on it together. I think that people though, like if you start small like us and you go out and you just pick up free stuff from Facebook Marketplace and you get yourself a $75 booth on a weekend at a flea market, that could go really far. They have events now because they're trying to get people out. Wasn't the Women's in Business event? I don't know.
Yeah, that was free.
I think that might have been like $50, $20.
I think it was free.
I'm just saying there's like all these things. And now with social media, you could even do tag sales.
And you could sell it from your house. I mean, if
you can do Instagram Live and sell your product on Instagram, on Facebook. Well, there's so many platforms.
Talk to me a little bit about your marketing strategy. If you guys did have one, what you guys use to promote yourselves to get people, because now you have the storefront and you do have to pay rent and all the upkeep, right? So talk to me a little bit about how you guys market and let people know that you're there, and then how you kind of keep inventory coming in and what that kind of looks like.
So I had a Poshmark Instagram and I had like over 3,000 followers. And I said to my sisters, I'm like, I'm going to change it into Thrift because I'm going to focus more on the store. I'm not really going to sell on Poshmark. Eventually, I'll change my Poshmark into Thrift. But right now, I was like, why don't I just change it into Thrift?
So we started off with
like 3,000 followers. Maybe not even that many. So once we had that, I said to them, like, once we get to the store, we'll do an ad. So really, Instagram really started us off. And running ads on Instagram. And they're not that expensive. Like, we don't do it every day. We do it maybe like if we're having a sale.
We did it the first weekend for opening.
Yeah, and that was good.
And we also got very lucky because the local newspaper did an article about us. So that was really helpful and
Did you have to reach out to them, or did they just because you're...
then because there's a nail salon that opened next door and there was a lady who did a big article. So I like just shot her an email. I Googled her and I was like, listen, I saw that awesome article you did about next door. And that's totally not me. Like I would never. And I didn't even tell them. I was like, I sent the email and they were like, okay. And then she responded, the lady. And she was like, I can't get there, but I would love to do an article. So I sent her pictures and she did this unbelievable article.
It was awesome.
And now that if you do like an article in the newspaper, it goes to like every outlet that they own on. It was like the Hour, the Advocate, Greenwich Time. So it went to like all, so people were coming in and they're like, we saw your article. And I'm like, it's out. He told me she was going to email me when it was out and she didn't. And so like people were coming in that morning. I was like, oh my God, this is so amazing. So that really helped us a lot. That was good.
Then randomly by chance, there was some event over at Wall Street Theater because they did like a survey and they were doing some research on the area because they want to change the streets and make it two ways, not one way and all this. And I just happened to get lucky and News 12 interviewed me. So that was good. And then we've done really well just on social media, people sharing us. Yeah. I Love Norwalk, I think it's called.
Yeah.
They're amazing. We've had like great support and response from there. Also,
and our friends, our new neighbors, like all our neighbors.
Our neighbors are TikTok influencers, so that really helps because when they shop.
Yeah, and then we have the boba tea. What's it called?
Bubblies.
Bubblies. They're awesome. They always share our stuff. So it's like if we share, they share.
And the bourgeois.
Oh, and the bourgeois people upstairs.
Yeah,
there's a lot of photography people. They're awesome. So like it's like kind of like if we all help each other out, we're trying, like we're all basically all new businesses. We're all young. We're probably about all the same age.
Yeah.
And we're like trying to help each other out because it's hard.
Okay, so I want to talk about where you're at right now. So in terms of like the inventory and understanding for people who are listening in the thrift world, how do you inventory manage what's coming in and how do you know what's selling? How do you know how much more to bring in? That's a lot of pressure because you're not just buying it from something. You have to find it and bring it in. So how does that work?
We've been getting a ton of donations, which we did not expect, which is so awesome.
And generous.
Like, every day someone comes in and asks us if we could bring donations in. And
when they give us a donation, first of all, I'm mortified and embarrassed, but I say, thank you so much. And then
because you also buy stuff, right? You're also, right? So in theory, like you could give them money back.
We will purchase items outside, but if you come in with your stuff and you want to get rid of it, we're happy to accept it. And we give them a coupon for when they come back.
So in terms of how you're doing like revenue, like right now, how many months have you guys been open now?
Since May 15th. So
okay.
2.5.
3?
No, it's 2.5 months.
Yeah.
It'll be
2.5.
Oh, not 3 yet.
Do you guys have divided roles at all? Like have you kind of split up where you're like, I'm going to do outreach in the community. I'm going to take over like partnerships.
We might do that.
So Angela has been pretty much.
I think unofficially we do.
I'm taking care of the accounting and stuff like that, and I try to be on top of like the books, let's say, and. Okay. I'm trying to
Nicole does more of the purchasing and me and Angela work more. Elizabeth works in the store. I work on the weekends, but we put the inventory out. We price.
I do more of like the merchandising.
Got it.
Great. She does the windows. She's very good with displays.
Yeah, the store looks great to display. Do you guys pay yourself a salary?
We're trying.
We're almost there.
And not a main source of income right now.
Okay, I was going to ask. So would you consider this like, I mean, it's split between, it's not like it's one person's business. So that's different too, right? You're trying to split it amongst 4 people, really. So would you consider it a side hustle for all of you? Or is there one amongst you that is doing it full time and is like making enough revenue to live off of it full time? Or is it a side hustle for all of you?
I think right now it's a side hustle, but the goal is to whoever's working here the most, making some money, all of us making a cut for sure. But right now, I think summer's been...
Well, I feel like this has been the slowest week.
Yeah, this week has been our slowest since we opened. So what I'm really hoping is the fall is going to bring us into that point where we're all on salary and things are better.
It's really impressive to me to take it's one thing to have a business that's online where you're selling stuff because I notice also online, you have your website, right? Do you feel like your website is important to have? Do you sell product online as well?
We need that website and our goal is to sell online. We just gotten there and that's something else we built kind of quickly just so that people can find us. And so our next goal, we're making a point. That's our goal we have to add and figure out if the items that are on the website are also going to be in the store. Is that going to be completely separate? Are we going to do shipping? All of those things, especially with like the fragile things. So we're sort of trying to figure out what the best avenue for that is as well.
And I always wondered how, like with thrift stuff, you sell online because things are constantly like turning over. So do you have to like photograph things and keep up the website and the inventory? It's a lot of work.
There is a way on Instagram as well, and I can't figure it out. So I was waiting for you.
It used to be on Instagram that you had to have 10,000 followers to sell, but now I think that it's different.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's because when for our family business, I was trying to do it and we couldn't because we only have about 6,000 followers on the family business.
So I just want to ask, like, what do you guys see, and kind of closing this out, but like, what do you guys see for the next steps? Like, where do you want to go? Like, Thrift is, you have the physical place in Connecticut. Do you want to expand this out? Do you want to make it
multiple locations? Definitely.
Multiple locations.
Yeah, we want to open a second store in Connecticut before we venture out past Connecticut. And then we're thinking maybe Westchester, just to sort of keep it local. Danielle and I are both I'm in southern Westchester, so it's about 20 minutes south. Danielle is 20 minutes over from here. So we want to stay within like Fairfield County and Westchester County. And then we'd really, if things take off, we'd really like to go, big.
Global. Do you guys do any market research of like does everybody, like you were talking about trends, is it really anywhere people are interested in thrift, or have you kind of done some like, I don't know, market research of like which towns are more interested in, like pull people in, or does Texas have like...
I feel like people in general, just from what we've done, are thrifting. If it's in a wealthier community, they think they're getting something better. Like, take for instance, Ridgefield has a great thrift store. The line outside is unbelievable because they think they're going to get a score.
And I was going to ask like two questions about, one, the pricing, your business model, and how you price things and what you take in, like how you structure that pricing. Can you tell me like how that works? Like if you get a jacket, for instance, how do you come up with the pricing structure? Do you have a model, or is it just like how you feel about it?
First of all, if it's a name brand, you're Googling it to see what a secondhand one's going for. It's just easy to pull that up in 30 seconds. Okay. So if it's selling for 50, if you buy something and you bought it for $1 and it's for I'm going to give you a big jump, 50, you find a 90s Tommy Hilfiger shirt, say, I'm just throwing this out there. Right. It's selling for 50 online. Well, guess what? We'll sell it for 40 because you're going to be there, you're going to see it, and you're going to like it. Like, we don't have to give you the same, like, we want it to sell. Right. We want you to like it. And
you also don't have to pay all those fees.
I think too, it's sort of like the quality. If it's like pristine condition, we'll have it a little bit higher. We have things that are $2 because we want people to come in and spend $2.
So when you sell something, is it difficult for you to project? Like, and I don't know if you guys are doing this, or you sound like everything just kind of magically comes together for you guys.
People.
Yeah, you guys are just like, all right, like it seems good. Do you project revenue? Are you trying, because like if you're selling this stuff, is there a model to it where you're like, we have to sell X number of t-shirts to hit our goal, to pay our rent?
Our goal is to have projections and keep better inventory, but right now it's just not there.
Yes. I think it's great that you guys all work together and that you have this, I don't know, you have this connection. You all do you all seem like you have different skill sets. So, but like name something that was like, have you had any big setbacks, huge fights, like anything that's really, or you guys all just
rage text.
She quits every week. If you saw our group text and how many times she's left the group text.
We have a sister's text, and then we have side texts with each individual sister.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
We want this to be successful.
We want all of us.
No matter what, no matter if I'm here for 5 weeks straight, I don't care. Like, we want to, like, if Liz needs a week off, who cares? We need to figure this out so we're successful. Like, it doesn't matter if we're putting in the time. Like, don't care. And
we don't care who's doing the work and like what share everything is. At the end of the day, we're hoping that the business takes off and that we all will make something.
Yeah. Well, I think you guys are great. I really, and just kind of wrapping this up, I just want to ask, you talked about the future of where you want to take it. And then just in terms of any advice you would give to other people who are listening to this podcast who have kind of aspirations to do something similar to what you guys are doing, what kind of advice would you offer to those people?
I would say try, don't give up, do not think about anyone else's opinion, and just focus on the goal.
Stay with positive people. Surround yourself with positive people. Even if you love the negative people, let them go.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think it's also choose your market. Right. We love fashion. We love vending.
We love a deal.
We love a deal. We love making people happy.
Yes.
When they get a deal. Yeah.
Before I ask you about like where you're, where everybody can find you in the social media stuff, I was just curious about like how you curate all the stuff that you find and like your kind of your standards. Is it one of you? Is it all of you? Do you guys have kind of an understanding of what the level of expectation is for being in the store? Because I've walked into the store and like I've seen it and I've been into a lot of thrift stores and I feel like you have a high quality of product and like just the way it's displayed. So is that a general understanding amongst you guys? Or is there one person who's the eye of the store who buys and kind of vets out what gets displayed?
Well, I think a lot of the times the girls will call me and be like, is this good? I'm like, put it down. Just the answer is no. The answer for that price, the answer is no.
I think now, though, just in the last couple of months, we're more all in tune with what needs to be in the store.
Like really, like the t-shirts are really hot, and obvious. Like I'm going to say Hawaiian shirts are hot. So like they're like, we need more. So like I go and where if somebody comes to visit me, they're going home with suitcases.
Went to visit her because we did a ThriftCon in Texas. I came home with 11 suitcases.
What is ThriftCon?
A big convention, and it's all different booths. So you rent a booth out and you sell your product. Like some people have sneakers, some people have just records or old posters or old toys. And then like t-shirts are hot. So the t-shirt game is crazy.
Vintage streetwear type of thing.
So how much does it cost to get a booth there? Do you feel like that's an important thing to be at, like to be present at those places to get noticed?
Beginning, it was good for us, but like, I don't even think we need that anymore. I think it helped us be like, oh, this is real. Like there is a market where just like people will come and shop.
Last year, we literally traveled. We went to Philly. We went to LA. We went to Vegas. We went to
Denver.
You went to
Colorado,
we went to Atlanta. We did Houston. So we did like every ThriftCon for a year straight.
Oh, they're all over. So they're all over.
One company and it travels to hot states.
How much is it to buy a booth there in each city?
I think that it depends on where it is.
Yeah.
So like it could be 300 and then it could be 2,000, depending on the size of your booth.
Got it. Where are your children at this time? My husband would be like, I hate you openly.
My husband was.
They love it. They love it. They hate it until they see the money.
Our wives are out hustling.
All the husbands bitch until the cash comes in. Okay?
But did somebody tell you had to do that? Like when you were like, oh, I love thrift. Like here are the top 3 things that I should do. You should go to ThriftCon. You should.
No, because I found out randomly about ThriftCon. I said to my daughter, it was like 4:00 in the afternoon. I was like, let's take a ride over there and check this freaking thing out.
You saw it on Instagram, correct? You saw it
Instagram and it was in Houston. I was like to my daughter, let's get in the car. Let's just go. I know it closes at like 5 or 6. Let's just go. And it was so pumping. I was like, oh my God, this brought me back to like 1995 on Broadway. Like I was like, oh, cash money. My head was like, I mean, my daughter was seeing people with fanny packs with more singles. My daughter's like, what is this, Mom? I'm like, baby, this is the real shit.
You guys are probably like some of the most fun people I've talked to. And I think it's so cool what you guys are doing. So I think a lot of people have ideas like you guys have, but they like everybody stops. Like they just are like, it's too hard. I have kids. I have a job.
Right.
But if you break it down and you hear it, it's like,
our whole thing is we always try. We always try. And we never want to just stay stagnant. So like we might fail, but in our minds, it's never failing. It's just another stepping stone. Where somebody will be like, I did this. It didn't work out. I'm a failure. And you didn't fail. You tried and keep it moving.
But you guys also do your own thing too, which I think a lot of people like get stuck in following like if you set up a business, you have to get on Instagram. And it's like, I loved Angela wrote the whole thing where it's like, just do and I've heard this from other people who are like, even if people tell you that you have to have like, just do what feels right for you and follow your own path and like be true to yourself and like organically, it will happen. It doesn't have to be a moneymaker overnight. So anyway, you guys are amazing. So lastly, just tell me the name of your website, where we can find you on social media, all that good stuff.
Okay. It's Thrift Connecticut with Connecticut spelled out on Instagram and Facebook. And then our website is thriftct.com.
You guys are great. I really, really enjoyed this. So thank you for doing
great.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm happy that you did it.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you. This was so nice.